the award-winning Beyond Vaudeville program with your host, Frank Hope, and your co-host, David Green, Austin Pendleton, Irene, Betty Aberlin, International Raelian Movement Representative Marie Helen Parent, Ada Love, Joey the Monkey, and lots more.
Okay, David, maybe as we had discussed earlier, you could have talked a little bit faster on the credits since we had so many today. But let's try to start things off right. We have a lot of guests, as you see, so we're going to get very quickly into, just quickly, I want to show you that Superman is getting married. You want to keep an eye on that and see what, over here, he's getting married, so I don't know if you think that's right or wrong, but it's going to happen. And I think we should get right to our guests. We do want to wish one of our viewers, Lou Brook, who's in the hospital, we want to wish him well. Right, David, you want to say something to Mr. Brooks? Okay. And please let's welcome our first guest. We're very proud to have on, very well known in the theatrical community, and we'd like to welcome Mr. Austin Pendleton to Beyond Vaudeville. How do you do, Mr. Pendleton? It's an honor to have you on. People recognize you from a lot of movies that you've been on and in your theater work. Now, one of my favorite movies that you did was the Great Smoky Roadblock.
Oh, that was your favorite?
That was one of my favorites. And was that fun to do, that movie?
Well, yeah, that movie was with Henry Fonda.
Right.
And when it was first being done, it was called The Last of the Cowboys.
Okay.
And they called me and asked if I wanted to go out to California, up in Northern California, and make a movie called The Last of the Cowboys.
Right.
With Henry Fonda. I just assumed it was going to be a Western.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, great, because I'd always wanted to be in a Western. I grew up in the 50s when there were a lot of Westerns.
On TV and in the movies?
Yeah, and that was always, that's one of the reasons I became an actor, was I always wanted to be in a Western. So I said sure, and then I read the script, and it was about truck drivers. Oh. That's what they meant by The Last of the Cowboys.
Well, that was probably when the CB movies were popular and all of that.
Yeah, this was not into CBs though. It was just a movie about truck drivers, and then it got cut and recut and recut and retitled and retitled and retitled, and by the time it came out, it wasn't even recognizable.
Oh.
According to what it started out to be, and even that wasn't what I thought it had been going to be, because I thought it would be. But the thing that came out of it that was good was working with Henry Fonda. Right, and a very talented man, very much missed. Now, but you also, now lately you've been doing a lot of TV work. The Equalizer you've been working with. And, oh yeah, but that's not on anymore, of course. Oh, yeah. Oh right, oh. Okay. But you also doing a movie with Paul Newman now. Well, I did one. It's about to come out. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Bridge, with Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward and Blythe Danner. Mm-hmm. And it's a Merchant Ivory film. Okay. And you've also coming out in about, well, in the middle of November. So very busy, and we're very fortunate that you could find time to drop by here. Now, you are involved with the Steppenwolf Theater Company as well. That's right. And how do you find time to do all these different, all these things? All these things tend to come along one at a time. Oh, okay. Believe me. Because sometimes it's hard just to do this show. We have a hard time, but... Well, yeah. It would be harder to do this show than it would be to do some of those others. Oh, okay. Well, we do have many guests, Mr. Pendleton. We want you to stick with us. Sure. We'd like to bring out our next guest, who's very well known as the queen of the Gong shows, on the Queen of the Long Island Gong shows. And if we could welcome, please, Irene to the Beyond Vaudeville show. Am I supposed to move down? No, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Hi. Irene, now you're going to sing a song for us. I think that's all ready. You're going to sing your mailman song?
Yes.
Right. Hit it.
This song was written by two Scotch gays bend over and fill my crevice. A salute to the U.S. Post Office. I'm so happy, I'm so gay. Oh, I can come twice a day. I'm your mailman. I lift your knocker, ring your bell, and you think that I am swell. I'm your mailman. Oh, I can come in any kind of weather. Just because my bag is made of leather. I don't mess with keys or locks. I just slip it in your box. I'm your mailman. I'm so happy, I'm so gay.
Thank you, Irene. And,
Thank you.
well,
Now we know why the merry mailman is so merry.
Well, thank you, Irene, and have a seat. Now, that song was a little blue, right? That you did there. But you do all types of songs, right? Good Ship, Lollipop, and David. Let her sit down. Okay.
The baby song.
The baby song, and lots of them. I think the mic is. I think you're sitting on the mic, Irene. Is it there, David? Maybe you could help, please. Okay. All right. Well, now, Irene, we want you to stick with us, but we do want to bring out our guests because we do have so many today. So if we could please welcome a very good friend of Beyond Vaudeville's, and you'll recognize her around town. Please welcome Betty Aberlin. Hi, Betty.
Hi.
Nice to have you back again.
Hi.
You remember David? And all right, David, you're not letting anyone sit right tonight.
Am I going to sit near him, David?
If you could, if you have room there, maybe. Okay. Okay. Now, Betty, what are you up to lately? You said you've been learning to communicate lately?
I'm trying to communicate, yes, on a daily basis with other people.
Okay, that's a good thing to do, and maybe David could learn to do that someday if you teach him how to communicate. Maybe once you learn, you can teach him to learn. So now, you've seen Mr. Pendleton's work, I'm sure?
Yes, yes, I have.
So you know why we're very honored today to have Mr. Pendleton and Irene. And okay.
Indeed.
Well, yes, and now we do want to bring everyone out, Betty, and if we could just bring out our next guest. So we do have everyone out here. Our next guest is from the Raelian movement, and if you're not sure what that is, this guest is going to introduce you to it. Please welcome Marie Helen Parent. Well. Now, Ms. Parent, maybe you could explain what exactly Raelian is to people in New York who might not be aware of it.
Yes, this is an international movement to welcome the extraterrestrial who are our creators in laboratories. And there you can find them in the original Bible in Hebrew, and their name Elohim. And it means those who came from the sky. And those people created humanity in laboratories, and they sent all the prophets like Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad to prepare the time where we are now, which is the age of the apocalypse. So, and they sent their last prophet, and they named him Rael. And Rael wrote a book and telling the messages that he received from the extraterrestrial.
Okay. Now, now your movement is largely in Canada, right? It began, or?
It's in about 30 countries. It's translated in 16 languages, and it's very big in Japan, Europe, and Canada, and it's very big in Los Angeles and Miami, and now we come here this year in New York. And we look for people who would like to take charge of the movement here.
Well, it's a very interesting thought, and you said it very eloquently that the Raelians believe that a man was created in a laboratory, right? As Marie had said.
Yeah, that's elegant.
by space aliens. Okay, David, maybe you can learn something if you listen, right?
Reagan might have been.
Okay, I'm sorry, Betty.
I just thought maybe President Reagan might have been created in a
President-
laboratory by.
I think, as Marie says, we all were, right? President Reagan or anyone was. But we do want to bring out our next guest, Marie, so we do have everyone with us. And we'd like to welcome a very good friend of Beyond Vaudeville, Miss Ada Love, to the program. Hi, Ada. Now, Ada, you worked out a little skit that you'd like to do for us. Okay.
Well, first, if I may, I'd like to bless everybody here. Bless everybody and everyone who's listening. I want to bless you with happiness and good things in your heart and good things in your life. And I want to also give a blessing for the boys and girls in the desert. They should come home. Everything should be all right. And I want you to stay. And now I wanted to do a little comedy, and then I'll do a song.
Okay, now, Ada, would you like to do that sitting or standing? Would you like to do your...
Well, should I do it sitting? But I have to sit over here.
Okay. And, all right, now you're going to do a little routine that you've worked out.
I don't mean to be facetious. I don't mean to be rude. But with that beautiful outfit you got, you made me feel so nice and warm, young lady, that I'm not cold anymore.
Okay.
Now I'd like to say, good evening, everybody. This is Ada Love, MOPO, MOP Radio, and I want to say hello to everybody, and whoever calls me, I'll be glad to hear from you. Okay, we have now number 7 is going to go on. This is Rosie from the Bronx. Rose. Oh, hello, Ada Love. I'm so happy to talk to you. What should I do? I have a problem. My husband, he just wants to eat his pancakes in the morning breakfast and sit all day and watch TV. I can't do a thing with it. I'm very vivacious. I play ping pong. I go swimming. I go dancing without my husband. Pardon me, dear. How old is your husband? Oh, my husband is 85 and I'll be 90. What should I do? Well, the only thing I can tell you is God bless you both. Thank you.
Okay, now, Ada, that was very good. Now, that was like a radio show that you made
radio show
up.
that I've been listening to radio. May I do a song?
Oh, all right, a short song would be great.
You're never too old. Remember, when you have a dream, you have a dream, it could come true. Everything could come true for you. My name is Sophie Tucker. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to tell you, if you have a dream, I'm very excited. Please
Okay.
excuse me.
Well, thank you, Ada. That was very good. Now, Mr. Pendleton, maybe you'll find some new performers for your Steppenwolf company before the show is through.
Yeah.
Are you used to people that can sing and do skits like that? And
Well, yeah. No, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to this.
well, we're glad you could join us. Now,
Yeah.
Irene, do you do that? Do you do that song also? You do. So you do a lot of different songs.
Sophie Tucker, too.
Sophie Tucker, and you tell little jokes like you just did just then.
Yeah, a few jokes.
Right. And Betty, now are you what? Oh, that you and David are getting along well. That's good. The two of you together there. It seems that's good. David usually doesn't get along with people that are with him down there. But now we have another act that we'd like to bring out, and this is a good friend of the Beyond Vaudeville family, and we'll get some music for him. And this is Joey the Monkey, and he's he's all ready, and he's going to bring out his friend Admiral Akbar from the Star Wars. And they're going to dance. Okay, very good, Joey and Admiral Akbar. Thank you both. Thank you for coming on. Boy, Ada, you cut a rug, as they say. Right now, Marie, if we could go back to the Raelian movement briefly. Now, you brought along a tape, which maybe they could show in the control room. A little bit of a tape from the Raelian movement, if we could see that, perhaps. Marie, any introduction?
Yes,
or
a question has been asked to Rael, how those messages could change the world, humanity. Any answer?
Okay. Well, if we may see that.
Right. How will it change humanity?
It changed everything, because when you understand where you come from, what is the origin of mankind, it changed everything about philosophy, about political, about religion. It changed all for mankind and for people, because before this message there was only two ways. One is we come from the monkey through evolution and Darwin, and the other way was we were created by a god, and this message gives us a third way. We are the fruit of a scientific creation in laboratory.
Okay, well, so now you see Beyond Vaudeville is not only entertaining with entertainers, but also informative and gives you different ideas. And I think one thing that wasn't said there, Marie, was that now the Raelians, they agree with nudism, right? Isn't that something that the alien said was okay, right?
Yes, of course. It's the way you were born, so it's okay to be nude. And during the summer, we have a seminar on central meditation that the Elohim taught Rael how to do it. And for the one who wants to do it, it's allowed that you can do nudism. So it's very good to feel the nature and everything.
Okay, and I think maybe even David would be interested with that, with the nudism. I think that, yeah, David, I think that probably.
Oh yeah, real interesting.
Has you interested. Okay. Now, Betty, now you had said that you want to, you don't like violence in the movies. You were saying earlier.
Oh, just that I had noticed that some of the movies that I've seen recently on television, David Lynch's Twin Peaks, for example, and in the movie this new Miller's Crossing, are so exquisitely done that, well, particularly in the case of Miller's Crossing, which I just saw, you don't, anyway, the impact of the violence is intensified by the perfection of the technique, and also certain terms which we would have thought in the past to be racist are very, such as they planted the sheeny, for example. Oh. I just have an interest in knowing whether all of us have to go blonde, and whether if a Jewish actress goes blonde, she's becoming the Aryan, and just things along this general thought line with respect to Spike Lee being put down for his movies, but these Coen brothers being Jewish or not called to task for, just questions like this that have come to being, and whether or not if you are doing your work on the stomach of a woman who's laid out in the morgue, whether this is any sort of denigration of, just that things along that. These are thoughts that I've had.
Sounds like Erwin Corrish.
Well,
Okay,
like in my mind is behind enemy lines sometimes.
All right, now, okay, now, Mr. Pendleton, one thing I like about your movies is they're usually very upbeat, like Short Circuit and What's Up, Doc, and lots of fun movies. Do you like to movies like that, like Simon, that are...
No, those are the movies I get.
Oh. Okay.
I don't get to be in those other movies.
Okay.
Perhaps that was... No, but I like things like Miller's... I haven't seen Miller's Crossing,
It's
so
a
I can't
beautiful
even...
movie.
I'm sure it is there. I've seen their other
It
pictures.
looks like Hopper paintings.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
And also it's extraordinarily violent. There are so many deaths that each death has to be more interesting than the...
Well, Shakespeare
one.
is violent, I've been in some Shakespeare in the theater, not in the movies. But
Well, so is our society.
yeah,
Excess.
and so was Shakespeare's society.
Oh, probably so.
Hideously so. And
I'm sorry.
I mean, and I guess in art, this is going to sound pretty stupid, but it's like if it's in artwork, maybe it's all right. I mean, I don't know. That doesn't sound right.
Well, yeah, that's been very interesting recently, the whole question of censorship in one's
Yeah.
right. I guess if we're made in laboratories, maybe we should be made with a little less of violence, or at least to counteract the times. If the times have been this way since Shakespeare, that doesn't mean that violence itself is necessarily a good thing.
Okay, well now, see, listen to all that good information. We're almost like the public TV with all this interesting talk. And now this, now I didn't see the Miller movie, but I did see The Dark Man, and it was violent, but it was good. You know, I liked it.
Dark Man was removed from reality in another fashion. I think it was perhaps a little easier to take, but in the new sort of mafia genre movie, you know, which one is not sure how they're financed, you know, whether by the liquor companies or by a new kind of...
And they make it attractive.
Beautifully.
But like I was in Richard III last year. I played Richard III of Shakespeare. And the whole idea of that play is you take a man who just is doing horrible things to people all the time, and Shakespeare's trying to make the audience, make him interesting to the audience, make him magnetic to the audience. That's Shakespeare.
Well, also we have that Richard within us.
Yeah, and I guess that pictures like the Godfather movies and all these movies are trying to make us think we have all of that in us too, or to play to the idea that we would like to have it in us.
Or that if we feel so powerless in our lives right now, as we're being jerked around by every newspaper heading there is, you know, I wonder, should I visit Jerusalem now, or you know, this whole question of whether they're going to, are we blowing ourselves up? You know, that kind of imminent destruction is always going on. So it's easier to sit in the movies, $7.50 a pop, or go to Broadway, $100 a pop sometimes. For example, in the new John Guare piece, I saw it, and every woman in it is blonde, which brings me back to, you know, do you have to be blonde to have success? You know,
well, I think Irene could probably, blondes do have more fun, right, Irene?
Do they have more fun?
That's what they say. Now, this is David. You probably appreciate this discussion. You always say we need more talk about things, and that we don't talk enough about important things. And now we have.
I mean, do you think that Meryl Streep and Glenn Close are the same actors, or is there a difference between them in a way?
Okay, well, maybe David can think about that one. And now, Irene, do you go to the movies much?
No. Once in a while, my son will bring over a videotape.
Right.
And that's the only time.
Any good ones lately you've seen
like
the video? Or?
Sea of Love.
Sea of Love, okay.
But I haven't seen too many.
Marie, you see that many of the films in...
Yes, I like to go to the movies a lot, and I like especially the movies where they show a better way, better world. There are not many, but we're looking for somebody to produce a movie actually on the messages that Raels receive, and that will show how not to be violent.
Okay.
So I would agree that we could have something else than violence, and I think we have been created in laboratories.
Right.
Perfect, but they created us with the choice to be good or bad. So if we're not perfect, it's our fault. So I think we have to do something about it.
Okay. Now, Ada, you like the movies, right? And,
Well, I used to go to the movies a lot.
Right.
Now I don't so much. My television doesn't work. Anybody interested in sending me a nice television, I'm ready, willing, and able to receive it. So I listen to radio a lot, and I love radio. I learned a lot from radio.
Who do you like to listen to?
Well, I've listened to different programs. The 6 o'clock, Jay Diamond, he just came on. And Dr. Meltzer, he just come on from 7 to 1. He's 7 to 10. He's marvelous.
Does he gives a T-shirt if you call in,
He gives
right?
a T-shirt and he gives advice.
Did you get a T-shirt from
Yes,
him?
I got everything from Dr. Meltzer, even love.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ada, what do you think about what Marie said, that maybe we were created by extraterrestrials?
Well, I'll tell you. See, I'm an old-fashioned gal, so I don't know what to say. I'm trying to this lady here, right? Well, this lady, I'm trying to understand her, see what she means, because she's coming across me and I'm trying to understand her. But you see, I'm an old-fashioned gal. That I know is that a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and they have to be properly dressed when they're meeting each other. All this crazy nonsense that goes on with giving condoms out in school, I think that's terrible. I'm sorry to say that, but everybody's saying it, honey.
All right, that's true. Well, that's what makes the world go round, right?
That's what
that
makes the world go round. I'm sorry to say that word, but
are you too, Irene?
I think she. I cannot say a lot about the messages here. It's why it's hard to understand them. But I think you gave a phone number earlier, and people who want to have more information or to get the book or anything, they can call and
make more sense. Maybe if you knew more.
Because it's hard to in a few minutes to tell the story.
May I interject a little bit?
Yes, Ada.
Oh, I'm sorry I used that word, but all the geniuses and all the superintendents of school are saying, instead of having children going bad and having them get pregnant, they had to turn to do this kind of thing.
Okay, well, that's a point taken, Ms. Love, and we thank you for coming on, and Marie, thank you, and Betty, thank you so much to have you again. It was a joy, and Irene, thank you for coming. Irene's been in a lot of our stage shows, but this is the first TV show that she's been on with us. Now, Irene, are you still playing the Gong shows that they wrote up in the Newsday on Long Island?
Now they call them talent shows.
Oh, talent shows. Okay.
But they're dying out a little on Long Island. You know, I think the recession, the bar business isn't as good as it was back a few years ago.
Okay. And now Austin, anything you haven't done yet that you still want to try?
Oh God, yes, hundreds of things.
Okay, well maybe we can have you back and we'll talk all about those hundreds of things.
Okay.
So now, thank you for watching Beyond Vaudeville, and tune in again next week. And thank you, Joey and Admiral Akbar from the Star Wars.
Should I get up?
Is Ada gone? No. Okay. Ada, maybe you want to come back just to say goodbye, wave goodbye. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Meeting everybody. I'll wave goodbye to you.
Yeah.